Welcome back to the District Territory Show. I'm Eric Shellhouse. Alongside me, Kevin Franzen, the Washington Nationals, and
Hi.
Spencer Nusbaum, the Athletic. Guys, coming off
Also,
a
hi.
tough loss last night. The Nats now just 4-13 at home, as opposed to 12-7 on the road. But Franny, I heard an interesting stat in the game the other night. This is Cade Cavalli's 19th career big league start. I think we forget sometimes just how young of a player he is because he's just been around and people have talked about him for so long.
Yeah, look, I think that's a very accurate statement. You look at Cade and what he's able to do and the inconsistencies he has is like a young guy. I feel like when you watch it, he's not young technically by age, but by arm, yes. Um, I just when it hits the fan for him, it happens fast, and it's wild to watch because like he had first 5 outs and 11 pitches, 5 outs, 11 pitches. And then it took another 65 pitches to get the next 7 outs. So I mean, it went from them being aggressive, him hitting his spots, doing great things, and then where did it go?
Yeah. Yeah. Blake had even mentioned when we talked to him before the New York start, he described Cade as a blank canvas. And I thought that was a really interesting description in the sense that, like, for as much as we think we know who he is, and for as much as he probably thinks he knows who he is, he's still learning the adjustments of, hey, my
Yep.
stuff plays this way. I read hitters this way. I think he's a really smart pitcher, and I think he'll figure it out. But we're still at the point in his career where, like, you're gonna see games like this where maybe the adjustment isn't quite there as quick, or there's just like an off night, um, and he'll need to learn how to handle those, and I have confidence that he will. Um, but yeah, especially when the breaking stuff doesn't land in the zone and he doesn't have command of that, the fastball gets hit pretty hard. And so I think that's probably the next adjustment for him. At least
Yeah.
that's my call.
Yeah. And Franny, you had a good one on the broadcast last night that they were just attacking very quickly, 2 straight games for Cade with 10
Right.
strikeouts, or at least 10 strikeouts. And they certainly had a game plan last night. It was to get after him early.
And whether or not that was the game plan, we don't know, right? Like that's the whole thing. But if I saw a guy that had 20 punch in 2 games, um, I I look at it going, I can't let him get ahead. I can't. And from the get go, because the breaking ball is real, right? Like we know that, and it's one of those that if he's landing it, you're gonna have a tough time. But early in the games, I feel like here's the other part of it, right? Where I'm big in not using everything early on. Some people are like, well, just let it eat from the beginning because that's you never know how long you have and you save pitches, and he was able to do that against the Mets, right? Like he was able to save that curveball till the number 9 hitter running Mauricio. Well, last night told me a lot different. Last night told me they were not looking for the curveball at all. They were just going, if I see how do I hit the curveball, I don't miss the fastball. That's what they were doing, and I think that was a pretty good plan with it. And when you execute and one of the first curveballs that you rip off is right in the leg of Cody Clemens. I think it kind of goes to the point of everybody else. They know he's not going to come with his curveball. He's not confident with it yet. So I don't know. It just seemed like they were so aggressive early on, knowing that he was going to be in zone early, just because that's what K's shown and done. Uh, yeah, it just they hammered him.
Yeah. Give our viewers online a look at last night's pitching box score one time, and only 6 runs, 3 of them earned. But that's always an interesting case for me when the pitcher commits the error. Is it really an unearned run? And you get a
No,
look at the
it's
rest
an
of
earned run.
it's an earned
It's an
run.
earned
Yeah,
run.
see, I would call that an earned run in my opinion. But
No, and
you
that
see,
play too, like going to his left, like he's so athletic and he knows he can make that play, but it's not the right play in that moment because it's like if you're gonna have, he would have to either backhand flip it or throw it with his glove to get it there, to home.
have to be like a middle
Just get the out
infielder.
of first.
Yeah.
Just get the out of first. That's the main thing. You're playing outs right there. Just get the outs. You can
Mhm.
make up ground, especially with how poor the Twins bullpen has been this year. You keep it somewhat close. I mean, you have a chance.
And the Nats rotating bullpen carousel just continues. Andre Ganillo was sent down last night. Jackson Rutledge designated for assignment to open up spot for Max Kranick signing to become official with a one
I
year
didn't know that
deal
guy.
and a club option for 2027. Spencer, you sent out this tweet the other day. This isn't a guy that the Nats are expecting to be a part of the bullpen immediately or overnight. But what can you tell us about him and when we might expect to see him?
Yeah, there's not a ton of new info there, so I don't want to speculate too much. I guess what I'd say is he threw pretty hard in kind of a showcase practice sort of situation tryout. But they still don't necessarily see him joining the team, I don't think, within the next few weeks or so. Now again, this is all subject to change, but it's another guy where you're kind of banking on the stuff to carry you pretty far and the little bit of a big league track record. Where almost everyone else in the bullpen really hasn't done it for an extended stretch before. I think I don't really have a whole lot more on that front, but for me, it's another pitcher who's gonna get a shot, and that's ultimately what the season is about. So yeah, I'm interested to see once he joins if he's able to pump 95, 96 like he was last year.
Yeah. I mean, what's exciting to me about, at least to me, Franny, I'm curious for your thoughts, is like a club option there tells me the team really believes in the stuff here. And regardless if it's going to be this season or next, they see him being a guy that can really contribute to the bullpen one way or the other.
Yeah, because those deals are so different too, right? Because arbitration eligible, all that stuff. I don't think he would be, would he?
I don't
I don't
think
I
so.
believe
think he's
he.
got 3 years of service, so maybe he would.
Maybe.
I might be
He
wrong on
maybe
that.
he would, but so the whole thing is anyway. You're giving this guy a shot. You're trying to build up as many arms and chances as you can. That's the whole thing. That's the Mike DeBarlo really started this trend with the Nats last year, taking chances and going and you know taking shots on guys off the waiver wire, right? Like, and then you have this opportunity where a guy is a free agent to sign. um, why not take the chance? You need to find arms and maybe at the same time not even rest, save some of your very own arms within the system, from rushing them up there and using the bullets when they don't need to be used yet here in the big leagues.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was just pulling up on Fangraphs right now. The bullpen right now, Gus Varland waivers, PJ Poulin waivers, Lovelady purchased off New York, Schultz waivers, Granillo was, not going to be on the Cardinals 40 man, so they traded for him. It's a lot of guys where other orgs have given up on them, and the Nats have said, "Hey, we trust our infrastructure now, and we trust the ability to give these guys chances."
Right.
And a lot of these, and that's the most interesting thing about picking up bullpen arms is I don't want to say it's as simple as they're always one tweak away, but that's kind of how I think of it. Where like, if you can add one more pitch to these guys, and they're so volatile that like you can probably get a good 20 inning stretch at it. Like I don't know. For me, that's where waivers are most useful, and I think that's where in years past you probably should have seen the Nats doing it more, and I think it's really encouraging that they're keeping that
I
up this
100%
season.
agree. I think 100% on
Yeah.
that.
One play I do want to highlight from last night's game was the Nats did strike first in the bottom of the first inning, and Dalen Lyle had some phenomenal base running. Those of you watching online didn't hesitate for a second, and that speed of his just deadly, able to beat it out and get us on up to an early 1-0 lead as he disappears and gravitates down
Where
to
did
the
he
dugout there,
go?
or he just disappears. But yeah, Franny, I mean, you had a great call that on the
Wait,
broadcast.
Spencer, don't walk in that area today. You
Yeah,
might get
stay away.
swallowed
The
up.
camera well might just
I
eat
know.
you up like a sand pit. Quicksand over
Yeah.
there. But off the third base, I mean, that was a contact play. I was kinda shocked that the Twins had the infield in the bottom of the first inning, but maybe that just was a respect to Cavalli and the way he's been pitching lately. But what'd you see on that play?
Well, I think a lot goes. It's a little different too now with infield in because there's either guys that hit a ball over the outfield, into the outfield a lot, or they're ground balls, um, and they're softly hit ground balls with splitters, and you get a guy that has a good four seamer in Taj Bradley yesterday, you take the chance. So I wasn't surprised they were in on that. What I will say is watching guys practice this of 4 games has not been the norm. And they're out there, they're working on contact play, the timing of it, making sure the hop. It was at 2020 when, against Dodgers Rays and Mookie Betts had 2 in the series, and they highlighted it, and I'm like, beautiful. This is beautiful because like what he did was he gained his ground, but as Dalen did, you're up in the air landing at the same time that ball is supposed to be across home plate. And right as contact, he was off. There was no hesitation. Like you think about that play last night, if IKF had done any semblance of that, the Blue Jays would have been world champions, right? I'm not even talking about walking down. I'm just saying like being ready to go. Like he didn't go until ball was past the pitcher. Dalen was off. You could see like replays of I stopped it on the ISO afterwards for myself because I wanted to see it. The ball was on the ground and he was off. First off, and that to me is it. That's everything. And it shows how perfect you have to be with your throw. Keyshaw was great on that, but he threw it to the left-handed batter's box, right, just to a right side of home plate. Next thing you know, that's the opening that you can get on the left side. But Dalen had a fantastic read on that. Not even read, it just anticipation. How about let's just say.
Yeah, the anticipation. It reminded me a little bit of the Sunday Night Baseball Bryce play, the pickoff play. "He's coming home!" Like, just no hesitation. Just no
You
went on
can't
immediately.
you can't hesitate, but you got to be confident in what you prepare to do. And in that case, it was just a contact play. Better be ball and ground. See the angle. Next thing you go.
Yeah. It was an exciting play and got on Nats off to a hot start, but, of course, that was not the way it crumbled last night. We're gonna take
Well,
a
I
quick
mean,
break. Mm,
I really quick. I think the next play is the one that matters of the whole game, and it's the strikeout of Jacob Young.
yeah.
You get these opportunities in the first inning with runners at third, fewer than two. You got to get those guys in,
Mhm.
especially in the first. There's something about getting the crooked number going in that first inning. 1 run game, whatever. 2 run. The manager on the other side is thinking about things differently. Seriously,
Yeah, and
one
they had base
nothing
runners in the
changed.
second. They had a chance to respond too in a 2-1 game. Uh, yeah,
So
Nats now, as I said earlier, just 4-13 at home, as opposed to 12-7 on the road, and I think it's 1-4 in the first game of the series at home.
yeah.
Just struggling in series openers at home. But we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Spencer put out a survey to Nats fans, and we're going to talk about that.
Hey,
Let's talk love life, FT family. I know it's an important part of everyone's life, but if you need help or if you don't, Blue Chew Gold is changing the game and it is turbocharging your love life.
That was beautifully delivered. The new arousal boosting formula combines passion and performance into one tablet that dissolves under your tongue for super fast onset. No more waiting for a pill to kick in. No more moments ruined by performance anxiety, just the results you want when you want them. Most ED meds only focus on blood flow, but Blue Chew Gold goes further by combining 2 ingredients for blood flow with 2 more for mental arousal and connection. So you're not just physically ready, you're actually in the mood. And we've got a special deal for our listeners right now. When you buy 2 months of Blue Chew Gold, you get the third for free with promo code FOUL. That's promo code FOUL. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
All righty, we are back as we were discussing right before the break. Spencer, you put out a survey the other day, and 80% of Nationals fans believe that the Lerners should sell the team. I'm curious, what do you make of this?
Yeah, honestly, these were about the numbers I expected, but it's still a little staggering to see that actual response. And I'll also give the caveat that this is 80% of readers. It's impossible to poll like every Nats fan, casual to diehard. Um, what I make of it is that fans are frankly sick of the team not investing in big league payroll. I think frankly that's the biggest aspect of it. And they're tired of the losses. You'll hear a lot of complaints from fans, whether it's like walking around Nats Park or on social media or whatever. And I think so many of them are a good amount are about, maybe the cost of attending a game or things like that. But so much of it is, hey, we want more money spent on the on-field product. And where I'll give maybe the ownership group some grace is that it's hard to look at what the projections were coming into the season and say, hey, we're going to spend on big league payroll instead of we're going to spend on the behind the scenes stuff that will help us for years down the line. And I think they actually did spend a lot of that stuff, in terms of spending on coaching at the player development level, spending on, getting more people in the front office, modernizing things, adding technology, all that stuff. While it's probably overdue, um, I do think they deserve maybe some credit for doing that this offseason. But so much of it is, hey, like fans are sick of watching a team that hasn't won more than 71 games, um, since the World Series, hasn't spent big on a guy in a long time, and spent, they paid Zach Littell, Miles Michaelis, and Foster Griffin this offseason, and that was basically it. I think they look at this as a roster that should get reinforced with, um, a large enough fan base and a large enough market, that you should be spending that money getting veterans around these guys. The Jason Worth deal always gets brought up. Like, I think however you might view that deal, I think it's absolutely valuable to get another vet in there, and I think they blame ownership for that more than anyone else. Um, so while I don't necessarily know that I'm surprised by the results, I absolutely think that it's meaningful, in the sense that that's where fans' frustrations lie the most. So, yeah, I'm curious, maybe a year ago, if you would have seen the same answers. But yeah, right now that kind of is where the pulse of the fan base is at.
Yeah. Another one that you had here was, how does your overall confidence in the organization compare to how you felt at this time last year? And a lot of people are feeling optimistic, as you can see from the results there. But this one was also really interesting to me. What should the Nationals acquire at the trade deadline? We've talked about this on the show a little bit, and obviously the trade deadline is a long way away. But most Nats fans said, hey, we need veteran pitching on this staff. And Franny, we've had other thoughts on that before, that they're not necessarily going to be buyers at this deadline. And one of the results there that I probably would have selected as a Nats fan is bolstering the prospects. Do you kind of feel like they're going to be in the same position here at the deadline?
Yeah, I mean, you try to. Part of this is deconditioning the fan a little bit, right, from the old ways and the thought processes, and like 1 week of hot, um, baseball in the farm system by a prospect doesn't mean you get called up to another level. Like master stuff. We haven't seen people master you know a league in years. Anytime anybody's got hot, it's like move them up, move them up, move them up. Well, same thing goes here. Um, you got to get into the way of what Paul Taponi and Devin Pearson and Justin Horowitz are going about this in the player development side with Ani, right? Is like these guys need to get better. They're hitting their thresholds for now, but we need to continue that on and keep getting them. That's true development, right? It's not about just get hot and then next thing you know you're up in the next level. No, master things. You got to master what we're trying to get you to do and hit our goals. I think the same thing goes when think about these type of things. Like, why would you want a veteran starting pitcher right now? Like, what is the point? Like, tell me the true point. Like, because that's how it used to be. Like,
Yeah.
to me, that's where the fan needs to understand that there is a new thought process, and it is right to have your thought, but also be a little bit understanding that things are going to be different, and it's going to take some time on certain things. I get it. I get the frustration part. But we also have to understand that like there's a process, there is a direction. We are seeing the direction. We are definitely seeing the direction on the big league side, but like even the minor league side with almost 600 winning percentage as a whole, which is insane.
Yeah.
There's things that are happening, and just stick with it. And it's a part of it. You rush it and you do you go after a veteran starter in during the trade deadline for what? What reason?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't really think of a good one.
that ultimately, yeah. Well, the thing is, and I don't blame fans in any sort of sense, because again, I
No.
know it's been hard to watch a team win 66, 71 games year after year. But I think when you think big picture, that gets you what, maybe 2 or 3 extra wins in a second half where you're probably already out of it. And yes, you maybe see slightly more compelling baseball. but you're never really exactly sure what you're going to get out of a guy. Whereas when you take maybe the longer approach, and yeah, it might sting to do that, you're setting yourself up more for 2028 to 2038 as opposed to 2026 to 2028. And much like Franny, like it might seem like for a few seconds something goes away, or you feel like you're
I
maybe
was trying to help
missing
you out with
something in
the
the short
acting.
term. Yeah, you might miss something in the short term, but over the long haul, you're really setting yourself up where, I know it's hard to think about 2031, but like you might acquire a couple of prospects who are the same caliber of big league starter then, as opposed to getting one for a few months and then letting things go. So again, while I understand the fan perspective, um, that's kind of my thought process throughout all of that.
Yeah. The final question in that survey that was really interesting to me too here was if you were allowed to put one 2025 free agent and their contract, which you included there, who would you pick? And most people obviously gravitated towards the starting pitching department, Dylan Cease, Ranger Suarez, and Framber Valdez, the top results, and then Pete Alonso. And that was surprising, kind of surprising to me with the results he's been having this
Where would you
season.
have gone, Spencer?
Yeah.
I would have gone Cease, but honestly, and this is one where I don't even know if I'm right. But on the position player side, I think Schwarber would have been a really
Thank you.
interesting
That was
one.
mine. That would have been my number one.
And walk me through that.
Uh, it gives you that adult in the room that we've been talking about, and plus the 5-year deal. A 1-year deal for a veteran player doesn't do much for a voice. We've talked about this a lot on air, and it is one that you want. You look, Schwarber wouldn't have come back, and not because he didn't like Washington. He wants to win, right? Like in the moment, but like you want to see something built, and you got to have people to show the way and lead the way, and someone that could be a leader with Blake and his coaching staff. Now we have found out that guys are listening. Number one, right? Like there's no problem on that. Um, but you just sense someone that is so confident in what he does and the plan he has, and it could set the tone for so many different things. That's what you need. At the end of the day, there's too many young guys that are having to be leaders that aren't leaders yet. You can become a leader over time, and I feel like he would have solidified that wholeheartedly. But all the other ones, I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't have done anyways. Not
Yeah.
with not with what the direction is of this franchise. There's a direction. He is the only one I would have deviated a little bit from and gone there because of the direction and the help and what he could have done offensively too. I think would be a huge help to James Wood.
Yeah. Especially, I think if he was a right-handed bat. Obviously, we know he's not, and he can hit lefties quite well. But the one thing this offense I think is lacking right now is that big power bat from the right side. And if there was just a way that they could carve and copy that player and make him a right-handed hitter, would have been
Inverse
such a
him, yeah.
beautiful fit.
I like
Yeah,
it.
if they can get ahead of that technology. But James Wood, he's got some serious pop. This play last night, Franny, you had a great call of it in the booth. You look at the trajectory right here for those of you watching online. That really looks like it's going to be a home run. James slows up, puts the hand up. Whoa, wait. And then he realizes, wait, they're not calling this out. Like, what an interesting play. You said he hit it too hard for the ball to get out.
You think about so ball was 112 off the bat, and this is and I want like people think, oh, you're just joking. I was like, no, I'm not. Like balls that usually hit off that wall aren't hit at that pace. So you see the ball indents into the padding and then just catapults out because it was hit so hard. You think the softer it goes, it might like actually hit and bounce over, right? But it actually gave because he hit it so hard, it gave and just went popped out. And it was like, damn. Like I watching him hit a ball like that though is so beautiful. I think opposing, I know for a fact, I don't think, I know opposing managers and all, they hate that kind of thing, but they also marvel at it. Derek Shelton being one of them. He's like, damn, that ball was smoked, right? Like that was a beautiful thing because you just love when guys can square something up going that way. I just watching it in slow motion and seeing the fence just give and then pop out. I'm like, wow, he did hit it too hard. That's hitting it too perfect.
It's one of the most interesting replay reviews I've ever seen because you watch it in live speed and you're like, "Oh, yeah, it kicked off the back carom there, like, right behind the flowers," and the more you slow it down, you're like, "Wait, no, the frames
Because the
show
fact
that
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 it
didn't
ejected that
happen."
hard,
Yeah.
like that's the part that like baffles me though. Because like it should have just like hit and kind of like died down. But it like yeah, it was that was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
I was never very good at physics, but that one surprised me.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Spencer, yeah, what did you see up in the press box? Because I mean, the ball is way above, like, like it
Yeah,
just sank too quickly. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
mean,
It looked out. I'll say that is that and this is funny. I was talking to Grant Paulson. I think on the first hard hit James fly out, and he said, "Oh, he's due. He'll get. You know, you've seen James do this before, where he misses the barrel by like 3 centimeters, and the next one goes out. And I think a strikeout might have followed, and then he made that contact. As soon as he hit it, I was already inclined to. I was started typing up my tweet: James Wood home run number 11 or whatever it is. It's one of those balls that you think just goes out. You hear it, you think it goes out. Um, yeah, he's just too strong. I don't know what to say. Like, next time
He's
get
so
in the air
good,
more,
man.
James.
it reminded me of like a Desi home run back in the day too, like those low line drive home runs that Desmond could just shoot out. I'm like, that
Well, you know what's
left-handers
crazy
don't
is
hit
that
them
like
like that.
you think that like Baron Buxton hit his 11 last night, and his was at 103 at 41 degrees. Right, last night
Yeah,
was 112, I think at 23 or 20,
yeah.
something like that. I mean, and that one doesn't go out. You're like, huh. Anyway,
Maybe in July, maybe when the air gets a little warmer.
I don't know, man. I after this Denver thing that's going on with their games and how much snow they've gotten here in May, like you talk about like a subdued like Cinco de Mayo party out there.
No, not wrong at all. Well, we're going to take a quick break here. I mean, not a break, but I want to give a shout out to today's sponsor. One of today's sponsors, FanDuel. District Territory is sponsored by FanDuel, and the baseball season, MLB season, is in full swing, and FanDuel is giving you a chance to call your shot with daily dingers. Joining the action is easy. You can just make your pick on who's hitting a home run in their game, and if you're right, you'll get a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. So, James was close last night, but Franny, who do you think's going yaw tonight?
Ooh, Bailey Ober on the mound. I'm gonna go. It's gonna be a crazy one. CJ Abrams.
CJ Abrams. That is out there. That's my
It's
boy.
mind blowing.
Spencer, you got any picks for tonight?
Yeah, I'll pick the easy one. I think we've seen James come up just short of a homer before and then follow with whatever 3 in 5 games. I'm gonna play the percentages on this one and not try to overthink it like Franny. I mean, how many homers has CJ hit this year? Only 8. Like, come on.
I was just trying to like get that drama in there. God.
Well, I mean,
I know.
CJ is an excellent pick, but I think, like you said, play the numbers. James is due. He was hitting all those home runs on pace for what, like 50 plus, and then it's been what, 10-game homerless drought here. But I like the James pick. That would be my pick tonight. Are you ready to play? Because you can head over to fanduel.com/podcast to get started. That's fanduel.com/podcast to opt in for daily dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a home run. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of Major League Baseball.
No purchase necessary. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, and we are back, guys. We got the Twins for 2 more, and I think we're evened up identical records now, right? Both 16 and 20. I
Yeah.
believe that should be the Twins
By the
mark.
way, Taj Bradley is filthy.
I was gonna say I should have. This is a Nats podcast, but I could have put some Taj Bradley stats in here today. I mean, that was slicing and
That's
dicing.
that's
Sometimes
an
you got to
easy
tip your
one to
cap.
understand. Yeah, that's the easy one to understand. Like when someone struggles, or like you just watch that outing, you'll get it.
You had a great call last night. You said, "I think he might be leading the league in foul balls." Was it? Is it? Or was it? That was
And
that
he
was
is
that was of
with 2
Nas. That was
strikes.
of Nas too, or 2 strike foul balls, and Nas just having that crazy at bat. You said 2 strike foul balls because
Well,
his
because his
stuff is
stuff
so
is so
filthy.
gross, man. Like that's the part that you watch with guys like this, and you're like, how is because look, we saw it with McKenzie. Like the nastier you are,
Yep.
the harder it is to square up, and it's like you don't have like I don't know. He's had two unbelievable starts against the Nats in his last two dating back to 24. So I mean it's what 19, 20 strikeouts in 11 innings, something like that.
Yeah, the dude's gross. Filthy stuff. I would not want to get in the box against him.
Pretty good trade for them, I would say.
I think it's going to work out all right, quite all right for them. But Spencer, what do you think the keys are going to be tonight? Obviously, the Twins have those power bats, but what will the Nats need to do right in the next two to try and pick up at least one game here and potentially get two and win the series?
Yeah, it's more of what we were talking about before in terms of keeping the game close and hoping that in the final innings you can break through. Um, Beyond that, again, I think I want to see let's say Dalen. I think that Dalen has had some good at bats the last couple of games. And the Nats have kind of missed having a third and fourth guy in the lineup who can do damage over the last 2 weeks or so. Um, I think if Dalen and maybe one other guy, Curtis, has also played well. If those guys can give you a lift that maybe you haven't gotten over the last couple weeks, and you can make this a 5-3 or even a 6-4 game heading into the sixth inning, I think you're perfectly comfortable as the Nats closing this one out, or even getting on top if you're trailing. So, yeah, I'll be watching Dalen pretty closely tonight and see if that success can move forward. Because again, the Nats have struggled against right-handed pitching this year, which is not something I would have expected. And so if
Mhm.
they can beat up on a righty, and if Dalen can do it in particular, I'll be very encouraged.
Franny, I want to get your thoughts too, but I have a feeling I don't want to speak on your behalf, but I know how this might start. Take care of the baseball, especially after last night. We got a field.
Yeah, that's usually number one. I would go right with Spence on this one. I think Dalen is a bigger need for him to get going because of his athleticism, not only like just his great bat, right? Like his ability to drive the ball, to hit, just hit in general. But you add his speed on the bases and yes, he gets thrown out a few times here and there, but I don't care. He's got chaos. Chaos is involved with him when he's on there,
Yes.
and he needs to be there and adding that. We saw like we were seeing it with Nas, we're seeing it with CJ. The more that they're on, the more chaos. There's a lot of good things that happen with those guys, especially on base.
Yeah. Chaos on the base paths often creates good things, in my opinion. My call is just going to be Curtis Mead. Stay hot, Curtis Mead. As we know, Luis Garcia is still day to day with a minor right hand wrist sprain. Nothing too serious going on there, but he had a great game last night. Mead, that is. And I'd love to see him do it again. So stay hot there. Anything you guys want to add before we take off?
No, he's been a surprise. Not even a surprise. I've known him since he was in Philly, before the Phillies traded him for Christopher Sanchez, and uh, same guy. Guy competes, man. That guy competes. There's a lot of guys on like. Not, I'm not going to say it's actually surprising me. There's like a lot of guys that compete on this team, and I know people don't see it because of wins and losses on certain things, but the at bats are a hell of a lot better than they've been, and they fight and they keep going, and that's a good thing. Good trait to have.
Yeah, and it's guys who have either had to fight for a roster spot or who have to fight to make sure that the Nats aren't seen as a secondary rebuilding like I think all this stuff is on their shoulders, and I think the fact that they're doing it now is great. If they're doing it in August and September as well, I mean that's you could see a surprising Nats team this year. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. I think I like the term professional hitter. Curtis just that base knocked the other night. Professional hitting right there. But we'll be back on Friday recapping the rest of the Twin series and previewing the rest of the homestand. Until then, you guys have fun at the ballpark tonight, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.